I want to put something here, maybe some music with some brass elements as a little primer for the introduction. Keep people on. I do want to keep the loading screen as like an introduction piece. YouTube. Hopefully, if you're watching this video, you know about it. It's been declining in quality over the years, I would say, at the very least. There's been a lot of features that have simply been stripped off of YouTube. One of the ones that I'm most upset about, probably, is the ability to download videos straight from YouTube. That's been ripped out from the public and has been put exclusively behind premium. And that's mainly to push premium. Now, obviously, there's ways around that, but that's not exactly going to be the most effective way. You'll probably lose a bit of quality with that. But just over the years, in general, YouTube has been declining in quality. And it's fair to say that it's not really the website it used to be. I don't really think that's necessarily always a bad thing, but with a lot of the algorithmically driven stuff that YouTube has been doing, I don't know if they're necessarily making the best decisions. Um, One of the things that's an issue for me is, as of recent, if you have certain privacy settings enabled, they just won't let you watch videos or like have a home screen, I guess is a better way of putting it. But they will refuse your home screen and instead just have you click through whoever you're subscribed to, which obviously kills a lot of the respects towards like smaller creators and discovery and all that, meaning you can't really find new people as easily. I mean, there's a bit of a way around that because if you click on a video, you're gonna get some new stuff, even with them trying to remove your home screen. For example, I if I click on a Subordinary Gamer stuff, I get like Ben Jordan, Gotham Chess, Veritasium, a bunch of people who I really don't watch necessarily. Uh, and obviously that's just YouTube trying to make it so that they can collect data. One of the things that's been interesting about YouTube is they've never really made a ton of money off of it. I don't know if they're still not making money, but for a while it was true that they made like none at all, and it was simply an expense for Google. And that's because YouTube requires a ton of storage, and the amount of storage that they need is constantly increasing, meaning it's a constant expenditure. And that is not really something you can have going on forever. And that eventually might die down, but one of the things YouTube is currently trying to use to prevent that is they're trying to do a lot of auto-generated content sort of stuff because YouTube might. I know YouTube is embracing AI because they have AI generation in their little creator studio thing where you could simply upload like one or two images and then generate an entire video. But I don't really think it's responsible for YouTube to move entirely over to AI generation. There's been a couple of YouTubers who've talked about this in a lot greater detail. I'll put one I recommend in particular up. Obviously, if you're seeing this, though, you've probably already seen their stuff. Another thing is they're getting a lot more aggressive with advertising. Allegedly, they're experimenting with inserting advertising into YouTube Premium, and that's not really great. I personally, if I paid for YouTube Premium and they inserted ads into my shit, I would refund like the past 6 to 8 months of YouTube Premium. I don't, but I don't know. I'm just blathering on a bit here. Anyway, uh, what they've been doing is with YouTube videos that have been, or with YouTubers that have been monetized and have previous videos, what they've been doing is they have this thing that automatically inserts ads, and what they've been doing is they've had old YouTubers who had videos that weren't really monetized. They've been going back and automatically monetizing them with the maximum aggressiveness on their auto ad inserter. And it's been inserting like up to one ad every 5 seconds into the video. And I don't think that's really justifiable, especially if the YouTuber wanted it to not have ads. Giant Grant Gaines talked about this around 3 years ago, and I think they're most likely going to escalate this issue further as time goes on. But if they do move to a fully autonomous platform, what I think it is they're going to burn all of the previous videos that have been on the platform just so that they never have to pay for that storage space again. Because having an AI that's automatically producing videos based off of like a short thumbnail, maybe a little description that's also automatically generated is far cheaper probably than the amount of storage and maintenance on that storage that they're doing now. I think it's around a terabyte of video footage gets uploaded to YouTube every second. Hold on, let me get that up right now. Let's see. Around 30, 60 hours every, or 80 hours every 10, or no, 90 hours every 10 seconds. So that would be 90 over 10. And so 9 hours every 10 seconds, assuming that's at 10 hour, or 9 hours of video at 1080p is going to be around 1 gigabyte per hour, so around 10 gigabytes, which is going to be a large amount of money for YouTube to put up in storage for a year. And they obviously have to have quick access storage because this stuff has to be streamed. Not exactly live, but close enough to it where they'd have to put in the necessary expense for it to always be accessible. Another issue with YouTube I've seen recently is you're not always getting information or the people you're subscribed to in your feed. For example, I'm subscribed to Shonik because I like his little breakdowns on TF2 and its mechanics, but it's not necessarily always showing up in my feed even when he uploads. Like there was a video he put out 9 days ago, didn't see it at all. And obviously it's fine for me to not see every video, but I would have liked his Making Class Wars Better video, but I didn't really see that. It didn't show up in my feed when I still had one, and I'm just seeing it now because I looked directly at his channel. And I'm kind of wondering what's the point of the subscriptions at this point if I don't really see that stuff. It just seems like the quality of the overall platform is declining, and it's not really moving in a positive direction. One of the things that YouTube changed is they removed the ability to pop out videos from YouTube, and then they reinstated it for everything except music videos as of recently. But they've completely removed that feature if you're just using like Safari. You have to use the YouTube app now. And I'll be honest, I don't exactly trust the YouTube app not to scrape data in the background. I don't really trust many apps not to do that. And it's just a whole bunch of tiny issues that have been adding up over time, and I've been seeing a lot of people who are consumers being aggravated at YouTube. One of the biggest ones was probably about the dislike button, but like it's a bunch of stuff adding up over time, and it's probably only going to get worse out from here, especially with the way Google is currently running the company. It's mainly a thing to push out media, and it's not really a main source of revenue or focus from Google. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Google was taking the data off of YouTube, bundling it as just Google data, and selling it off as such and never putting it towards the YouTube balance sheets. But I wouldn't exactly know about that. And I don't know about the background between Google and YouTube, because they do want to make it seem a bit independent from Google, most likely for regulatory reasons. Another big disaster was Kappa, but that was more on the creators' end. But I heard some interesting rumors about Kappa. I don't know if it's true, and I can't attest to any of that, obviously. And I do not want to get in legal weeds from that. Not that I exactly be someone there paying attention to. But there's some stuff that allegedly went down with that, and it wasn't really positive for people. I don't know about that. I will never know about that. But essentially, YouTube is kind of being left high and dry by Google, and I don't know if YouTube will exactly survive the next 5 to 10 years in a reasonable state. Because with Google's big push towards AI, they might pressure YouTube to be a more AI centric media platform similar to what Sora was. And I don't think that's necessarily going to be healthy for them. I mean, it'll never be healthy for them. But let's talk about some of the features moved to premium. They moved continuity. Honestly, it just seems like a bunch of stuff that is really piling up in small amounts. I know one of the things that was also big, because it also affected the consumer, was demonetization. For example, you don't see a lot of people swearing as much on YouTube as you did before, and there was a lot of people who would swear somewhat regularly on YouTube. Another thing is, Elsagate was a big thing, and allegedly that's going to come back because of the way YouTube structured itself after COPPA. They automatically put a bunch of stuff and label it as for kids, but the labeling of for kids automatically puts it allegedly onto YouTube Kids, and that's not really gonna pan out well for them in the long term, because there's a lot of stuff that I see that's labeled as for kids that absolutely is not, and if it is on the YouTube Kids app, it is 100% harmful. And I don't know if there will ever be a good solution for this stuff. One of the features that I personally liked off YouTube was the yellow tick indicators for ads. It gave you a good knowledge on how many ads were in a video, and if you saw a certain amount of ads in a video, you were like, oh yeah, this is low quality slop, just to get you to see how much advertising you're willing to consume, pretty much. And that was not really a reasonable thing. And I could see them doing another round of like COPPA, just because they're super paranoid about that stuff and they want to get ahead of it beforehand, or a massive amount of demonetization. I mean, honestly, I just wish there was a lot more. Like, one of the things that I've seen more is a lot of people treating it as a business, not like a creative endeavor, which isn't necessarily wrong. Like, it is a business to some degree, but you kind of want the passion behind it so that you don't really get sucked into something and it just burns you out and chews you up, spits you out. Because if you view it as a job, it isn't really fun. But another thing is, if it's just a job, there's a point in which you're just pumping out sludge so that you can pump out sludge. One of the examples of this might actually be Mr. Beast, which he doesn't really look great as of recent. He might have had some work done that went wrong on him. But like leaving people in a grocery store, all that stuff, like a lot of this, because he has to escalate, it's getting more unreasonable to believe. And like, I get that it's clickbait for children, but like the race is 1 to 100, like doesn't seem like it would be a quality video. Somewhere in the middle of the pack is probably going to win if they're reasonably fit. And the people at 100 would have to be exceptionally fit to have a standing chance. One of the things that I do see a lot is animal abuse, which honestly, I'm seeing a lot more animal abuse on YouTube as of recent than I have historically. For example, like the hamster obstacle course sort of stuff. Now, there's been one of the worst, I would say, would be like the animal rescue, quote unquote, people, which a lot of them have now moved to AI, which I'd argue is unfortunately better, because at least they're not hurting real animals anymore. Because a lot of those were staged, like they would purposely injure or harm a puppy, and they would put it into an intentionally dangerous situation just so that they could, quote unquote, rescue it. And it's just not, yeah, like, if I go on to YouTube Kids right now, I can find animal abuse. There's DIY hamster obstacle course professional maze build, and a lot of this stuff looks like it's stuff that could actively harm the hamster. Now, it looks like they only use one hamster, so I'm less inclined to believe there was actual injury, but I do know there was another one where the hamster was actually injured, and you can see there's some instances of the hamster being distressed in the video. And unfortunately, the kids just see the hamster and the bright colors and they're like, oh my god, hell yeah. Pretty much. And it's like, oh god. Because this isn't really great. It's not quality content, and it's somewhat upsetting to know that there's just animal abuse on YouTube. And some of the stuff in YouTube Kids is inherently gonna be malicious because there's gonna be people and individuals who are specifically targeting children because predators will specifically target children because that's what they're attracted to. It doesn't make it right, absolutely not. But there's just a bunch of this slop fest stuff on YouTube, and it's absolutely within YouTube Kids. But there's also inherently harmful content on YouTube Kids where the kid is just going to see it and go like, oh yeah, I can do that with my hamster. Oh, hamster and microwave for free Robux, let me do that sort of stuff. And then kids aren't even necessarily going to be on YouTube Kids, because at some point they're going to realize, oh, I could just Google YouTube on Safari, and oh, I got YouTube, full thing. And it's just like, nobody's really fooled by YouTube Kids. They know it's just, well, I wouldn't say no one, where YouTube doesn't really understand why they're popular. For example, YouTube is rolling out 90-second ads now. And it's like, you're going way too aggressive with this. And like, YouTube seems to think that the only way to get YouTube on a TV is through them. But like, you could just hook up your computer to the television. You could just run it through that. And like, it's like, why? Like, I understand that you want to remain some form of profitable, but like, it just seems like you're two shakes north of having everyone just abandon you on a dime because they're so sick of your shit that they will actively search for or create alternatives, because it's not like there's none. And like, some of them, if they see a surge in popularity, some of their old content will simply disappear because there's pirated content. But that's gonna simply be a factor in life. Like, early when YouTube was first getting monetization for creators, gaming creators were very hard to monetize initially because a lot of video game companies viewed footage of their games as inherently theirs and copyrighted. And so they would copyright anyone and everyone doing a Let's Play, especially Nintendo. Nintendo was particularly strict about that, and they were particularly having a stick up their ass. That's why I think Skyrim is somewhat beloved, is because they didn't Todd Howard didn't really copyright people, or at least not as much. And so it simply was allowed to propagate on YouTube, and it became very popular there. Not necessarily because of quality. I'll be honest, Skyrim is a piece of fucking shit as a video game. I don't know if YouTube can keep up with this decline in quality and maintain their popularity forever, because it's not reasonable to say you'll be the top dog forever. Comcast probably thought they would be the top dog in like 2012. And I have evidence that Sesame Street thought television would last forever in 2009. It was even in the last video I posted. That little article I put up said that television would continue to be the way of the future in 2009. And they, as of 2020, I believe, Sesame Street is owned by Paramount. So as of 2019, Sesame Street airs exclusively on HBO Max initially. Can't really say it's public broadcasting anymore. Unfortunately, the only people really on television anymore are the boomers, and they're too busy watching their dick pill ads to actually care about Sesame Street, because that's the main thing on television at this point. So, and another thing with YouTube is the ads. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot that. There's so many, like, pretty much super inappropriate ads, or like, if you don't do this, you will have your asshole explode into flames in 3 days type of shit on YouTube. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And it's like, what the fuck? This is just genuinely a scam. What the actual hell is wrong with you for showing this to me? Like, one of the things that I know YouTube still has is those ads that say, severe weather warning in your area, click for details. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. This is the most obvious, like, hostile, take your shit and kill you ad ever. And it's specifically targeting, like, the little kiddies and the old people. And it's like, this is horrible. Do you know, like, no quality control checks on your ads? And another one I've seen is, like, for illegal guns. I've just seen advertisements for, like, shotgun pistols on YouTube, off rip. And it's like, Jesus, that is like one of the most illegal things I could think of advertising that isn't just straight up like crack or heroin or some shit. Like, I have seen so many ads where it's like some scammy shit or some illegal shit, and it's like, what the actual fuck kind of vetting is YouTube doing where this shit is passing through? It's either absolutely none or the absolute bare minimum to the point where they don't even know what type of advertising is going up on their platform. I swear, one of these days I'll get a actual bomb threat as an ad. I don't know when it'll happen, but at some point someone will probably sue over these ads. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. It's insane, and I don't know when or how it or if it'll even get better. Fuck. It might even get worse. It might get worse. It just might get worse. We don't know. I don't know. You don't know. But it seems like they're doing nothing about it. Because there's still the porn ads. There's still the ads that are encouraging you to download viruses. There's just a whole bunch of stuff, and it doesn't seem to be getting better. And I doubt they actually care. It didn't improve under Susan, and when they changed leadership, it didn't improve either. So who knows?